As I gazed out into the endless void from the window of the spaceship, a mix of anger and determination filled me. The weight of the mission given to me by the command center grew heavier with every step I took. I was ordered to assassinate General Tharnak, an alien scientist. The order was clear and unquestionable. I had devised my plan. It was the day before the assassination. I reviewed all my preparations. The plan was as follows. General Tharnak was scheduled to visit his laboratory for a routine security check the following morning. I would hack into the security systems to gain access to Tharnak's area. Once inside, I would eliminate him quickly and quietly. Afterwards, I would leave false evidence pointing to another alien race for the assassination. Everything had to be flawless. I retreated to my private room in the command center and opened the holographic map on my desk. I examined all the routes to Tharnak's laboratory, the locations of the security cameras, and the patrol routes of the security robots. I reviewed every detail repeatedly. I couldn't afford any mistakes. Reaching for the communication device in the corner of the room, I called Jax, the leader of my team. Jax was a seasoned war veteran and one of the most trusted members of my team. When his face appeared on the screen, I saw the resolve in his eyes. "We're reviewing the plan again, Jax," I said. "Tharnak will go to his laboratory at 0900 tomorrow morning. I need your help to hack the security systems. Also, I'm counting on your team to plant the false evidence." Jax nodded and said, "Understood, Commander. The entire team is ready. I'll handle the security system shutdown. We've also prepared the false evidence." After finishing the conversation with Jax, I returned to the holographic map. I examined the detailed layout of Tharnak's laboratory. I identified the blind spots where security cameras couldn't see. I planned step by step how to infiltrate the building and neutralize Tharnak. "All right," I said to myself. "The first step is to hack the security systems. Jax will handle that. Next, I'll enter through the northeast entrance of the laboratory. Tharnak's office is on the second floor, at the end of the corridor. I'll eliminate him quickly and quietly. Finally, I'll plant the false evidence and leave the scene swiftly." As these thoughts swirled in my mind, I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. My plan was perfect. I prayed for everything to go smoothly. Late at night, I gathered with my team. We reviewed all the details again. Jax was explaining how we would take control of the security systems. "When we hack the system, I'll disable all the security cameras and alarms for 3 minutes," Jax said. "During that time, you need to reach Tharnak's area." The other team members were also ready. Each knew their task and worked in perfect coordination. The determination on their faces strengthened my own resolve. "Everything is ready," Jax said. "We're just waiting for your signal, Commander." I nodded and said, "We start at 0900 tomorrow morning. Everyone, be cautious. No mistakes on this mission." When the meeting ended, everyone was focused on their tasks. As I reviewed the plan once more, I opened Tharnak's file. At that moment, seeing my father's name listed alongside Tharnak on several projects froze me. My heart started pounding rapidly. Learning that my father had worked with Tharnak was deeply unsettling. Was my father a traitor? While I struggled to process this information, Jax came over to me. "Commander, is there a problem?" he asked. Jax saw the conflict in my eyes and nodded. "We must seek revenge for our fathers and fight for humanity's future," he said. He was unaware of the internal storm raging inside me. Instead of sleeping through the night, I repeatedly reviewed the plan in my mind. I thought about the route to Tharnak's laboratory, the security measures, and the escape routes. My anger and determination didn't wane until morning. I was prepared to do whatever it took to avenge my father. When morning came, my team was ready. We geared up and set off for the mission. Each step I took heightened my anger. Tharnak's end was near, and I believed justice would be served. The next morning, as we advanced through the cold corridors of the ship, my anger and determination grew stronger. The entire team was prepared. We armed ourselves and headed towards Tharnak's laboratory. When we arrived in front of the laboratory, Jax quickly worked on the computer console to disable the security systems. "We have 3 minutes," he said. "Let's move." We slipped inside silently. As we moved through the corridors, our steps were inaudible. Everyone was focused on their tasks. When we reached the Reneke's office, we found him working at his desk. I raised my weapon, but the internal conflict and the realization that he was a friend of my father made my hand tremble uncontrollably. Reneke looked up at me. "Did you come to kill me?" he asked calmly. "Yes," I said. Reneke took a deep breath and spoke, looking directly at me. "Your father made a great sacrifice for humanity. He was not a traitor. And I am not an enemy of humanity either," he said, trying to soften the anger in my eyes. "In fact, we were working together on a project for the benefit of humanity. The Xerian alien race, which does not want humanity to rise, first killed your father. Now they are using your anger to have me removed. You must understand the truth and believe me," Reneke said, his voice carrying both a plea and determination. "We must work together to find and eliminate our real enemies," he said. At that moment, a storm erupted inside me. Even as I kept my weapon trained on Reneke, thousands of thoughts clashed in my mind. I wanted to believe what he was saying, but sticking to orders and anger was equally tempting. The honesty and determination I saw in Reneke's eyes pushed me to think. "If you're telling the truth," I said, trying to control the tremor in my voice, "you must prove it to me. Why have you kept this truth hidden until now?" Reneke quickly projected data from his computer onto the screen. "Look," he said, pointing at the data on the screen. "This is the full detail of the project we worked on with your father. A project developed to meet humanity's energy needs and accelerate our technological advancement. This project was contrary to the Xerian plans. That's why they killed your father and now they're targeting me," he said. As I examined the data, I began to understand the truth of the Reneke's words. My father's name, the project details, and his sacrifices came to life before my eyes. The anger in my heart was slowly giving way to sorrow and resolve. "You're truly telling the truth," I said, lowering my weapon. "I will fight alongside you to avenge my father. We will find and destroy our enemies." Jax, maintaining his position next to me, asked, "Commander, what do we do now?" "We'll make a new plan," I said firmly. "Instead of killing Reneke, we will target our real enemies. We will avenge my father and fight for humanity's future together." The anger inside me gave way to resolve and hope. I would work with Reneke to avenge my father and fight for humanity's future. As I left Reneke's laboratory, I was filled with a new purpose. I believed Reneke's words, but first, I needed to determine if my own commanders were involved in this betrayal. Otherwise, I would not succeed in any operation on another planet. Therefore, I immediately began researching and devised a plan. As I left Reneke's laboratory, a plan began to take shape in my mind. Questioning the reliability of my commanders was a dangerous but necessary step. If they were also under Xerian influence, I could trust no one. Using the ship's secret communication channels, I tried to access my commanders' confidential files. These files contained detailed information on how and why orders were given. Jax and Lena supported me during this process. "Commander, accessing the files of our commanders will be difficult," Jax said while working on the computer console. "The security protocols are quite tight." "We have no other choice," I said. "If we find out they are involved in the betrayal, we must stop them." Our plan was simple but risky. We needed to infiltrate the security systems of my commanders to monitor all their movements and communications. This could reveal any connections they had with the Xerians. Lena, using her expertise, showed us the safest way to proceed. "From here, we can access our commanders' secret meetings and messages," Lena said, pointing to the schematic on the screen. "But this process requires careful and swift action. We must complete our tasks without being noticed." As a team, we each took on a role. Jax bypassed the security systems and recorded secret meetings. Lena analyzed the message traffic, searching for possible connections with the Xerians. I evaluated the data we obtained, trying to prove my commander's betrayal. After hours of work, we finally obtained the evidence we were waiting for. It turned out that my commanders had made secret deals with the Xerians, and that this assassination was designed to advance the Xerians' plans. The anger in my heart grew even stronger with the revelation of this betrayal. "This evidence is sufficient," I said, examining the data on the screens. "Our commanders are collaborating with the Xerians. We must stop this betrayal." Jax, with a determined expression on his face, asked, "So what do we do now, Commander?" "Our first step is to neutralize our commanders," I said. "If we don't stop them, all our plans will fall apart. With Tharnak's help, we'll expose this betrayal and eliminate our enemies." I arranged a meeting with the colony leader. When I entered the room, I noticed the tense expression on the leader's face. I felt the weight of the evidence I was about to present. I had to prove the betrayal of my commanders. "Commander," said colony leader Drayden in a serious tone, "you mentioned you have important information. I hope this matter is as urgent as the meeting itself." "Yes, sir," I said resolutely. "I have data proving that our generals are collaborating with the Xerians. I am here to present the details of this betrayal." Tharnak and Jax stood beside me. Jax opened his computer and projected all the evidence we had gathered onto the screen. Secret messages, meeting records, and details of agreements with the Xerians were displayed one by one. "The data we've obtained shows that our generals made secret deals with the Xerians," I said, pointing at the information on the screen. "This assassination order was designed to advance their plans." Drayden carefully examined the evidence on the screen. His expression grew increasingly serious. "This is indeed a grave accusation," he said, without taking his eyes off the screen. "It's hard to believe our generals could hide such treachery." "The evidence is clear," Tharnak said quietly but firmly. "This betrayal threatens the future of humanity. The generals must be stopped." Drayden took a deep breath and leaned back in his chair. "This evidence clearly shows the generals' betrayal," he said with determination in his voice. "I cannot ignore this treachery. I will initiate the necessary actions against them." Together, we took the necessary steps for the arrest and trial of the generals. The colony leader sent out emergency messages to all units. The generals were arrested on charges of secret agreements and betrayal. This development caused a great stir throughout the colony. After the betrayal of the generals was revealed, colony leader Drayden organized a major meeting. All high-ranking commanders and leaders gathered in the conference room. Drayden took the podium and began to speak. "Dear friends," Drayden said in a serious tone, "today we have gathered to make an important decision for the future of humanity. We have exposed the betrayal of our generals and taken the necessary steps. Now, we must declare war on the Xerians." A silence fell over the meeting room. All the commanders and leaders were processing Drayden's words. The tension inside me intensified the atmosphere in the room. "Commander," Drayden said, looking at me, "you and your team will be at the forefront of this war. You will play a crucial role in planning the operations against the Xerians." "Understood, sir," I said with determination. "We will do everything in our power to win this war." After the meeting, preparations for the war began swiftly. All units were mobilized for the operations. Ships were equipped, soldiers were trained, and strategies were developed. Tharnak stood by my side and said, "Together, we will win against the Xerians," with determination in his eyes. "Yes," I said, feeling the shift from anger to hope and resolve within me. This war against the Xerians was not just about revenge, but also an important step to secure the future of humanity. The support of colony leader Drayden and having Tharnak by my side increased our hopes of winning this war. We gathered in the command ship's conference room. The dark atmosphere of the room heightened the pressure we felt. On the screen, the holographic image of the enemy alien race's council building rotated. Everyone was attentively listening to the details of the plan. "Here's the plan," I said. "Tharnak will provide us with information on the enemy's security systems. Jax, you'll hack the security systems to gain us access. The rest of us will enter the council building and neutralize the targets." The security cameras and patrol routes Tharnak showed on the holographic map were key to our plan. He was the one who knew the enemy's security systems best. "I've calculated the time needed to disable the systems," Tharnak said. "I can blind the security cameras for 6 minutes. During this time, you need to enter the building and find the targets." Jax nodded. 6 minutes should be enough," he said. "I can also disable the security doors at the entrance. Once we're inside, we need to be silent and quick." The determination of my team members further fueled the anger inside me. Tharnak looked into my eyes and spoke quietly. "I'm here to avenge your father," he said. It's my mission to destroy the alien race responsible for his death. I nodded and took a deep breath. Then let's get started, I said. Tonight, justice will be served. As night fell, we left the ship as a team. As we advanced towards the alien council, my anger and resolve grew stronger. Under Tharnak's guidance, we managed to bypass the enemy's security systems. Jax worked swiftly on the computer console, disabling the security cameras. 6 minutes have started, Jax said. Let's move. We opened the entrance door silently and began advancing through the corridors. Each step brought us closer to our enemies. Tharnak guided us by marking the obstacles ahead. When we reached the main hall of the council building, our eyes searched for our targets. The leaders of the enemy alien race were having a meeting. Their presence heightened my anger to its peak. Jax looked at my fellow soldiers and said, "Everyone, take your positions. When the attack starts, there will be no mercy." We charged in. The dark corridors of the enemy base echoed with the noise of battle. The enemy soldiers, protected by shields and armor, became visible in the light of the surrounding illumination shells. Our weapons fired, and the enemies were taken down one by one. Each explosion and scream of the enemies slightly eased the anger inside me. Tharnak fought alongside me, defeating enemies. The soldiers fighting with us advanced in a coordinated manner. The sounds of gunfire and explosions reverberated through the corridors. The enemies were retreating against our superior firepower. "Incoming from the right!" shouted Jax, aiming his scoped weapon at the enemies. "They're firing from a high position. Be careful." Tharnak, next to me, took down an enemy and stepped forward. With his impressive armor and powerful weapon, he targeted the enemies. "The attack continues," he said while firing at the enemies. "The enemy leaders must be here. We need to find them." A group of enemy soldiers burst around the corner of the corridor, opening fire on us. We responded quickly, bullets creating a dense cloud of smoke around our armor. When Tharnak was targeted by an enemy soldier, he turned to me. "Mark the target, and we'll clear them out." I fired at the direction Tharnak indicated and took down several enemies. My target was clear. An enemy commander was hiding behind other soldiers. "Target marked," I said resolutely. "We'll take out the commander first." While Tharnak focused on the commander, I concentrated on the other enemy soldiers. Each explosion and each scream slightly alleviated my anger. This was a moment filled with the satisfaction of avenging my father. In the midst of the battle, I paused for a moment and surveyed the chaos around me. The enemy soldiers seemed to have realized our plan and were beginning to retreat. "Clear the wounded munitions. We're advancing inside," I shouted, aiming my weapon. Tharnak, while taking down an enemy leader, was called by one of my allies. "Commander, we've cleared this area. We need to move to the main control room." "Understood," I said, slowing down a bit. "The main control room is our target. Let's continue." When we reached the door to the main control room, Tharnak and I blew the lock. Upon entering, the enemy's central operations center appeared to be in chaos. The enemy leaders were frantically checking equipment in a state of panic. While Tharnak took down several enemies, I focused on the leaders. Explosions and intense gunfire filled the room. One of the enemy leaders was giving orders in a corner, whispering. I took another step and targeted the enemy leader. With a final move, I neutralized the leader. "The leaders are cleared," I said, turning to Tharnak. "Now, let's clean up the remaining enemy forces and secure the base." The space base was now under our control. Each explosion and each scream was a part of this grand purpose, and my anger had finally found satisfaction. Looking out the window of the spaceship, I nodded and took a deep breath. "We will complete the project my father started together," I said. "We will continue to work for the benefit of humanity." The emptiness of space was suddenly filled with flashing lights. The Xerian ships were approaching the colony station. A dry silence enveloped the command bridge. The crew stared intently at their consoles, holding their breath. "The Xerians are getting close to our radar," Lena said, her voice trembling. "The first move of the battle has begun. We need to stop them before they reach their targets." "Prepare the first salvo," I said, clarifying my decision. "Activate the defense systems." All the screens inside the warship displayed the positions and speeds of the enemy ships. Targeting systems quickly focused on the enemy vessels. A series of explosions echoed through our ship. Space outside was filled with exploding shells and beams of light. The Xerian ships tried to fend off our attacks, turning the battle into a dance of beams and rockets. Our ship's defense systems repelled the enemy fire. Each explosion caused the ship to shudder, creating a tension that gripped the entire crew. On the bridge screens, the positions and movements of the enemy ships were changing rapidly. Jax carefully monitored the data on the console. "We're responding effectively," he said, his voice steady. "We've neutralized most of the enemy ships, but there are still dangers. It looks like the enemy commanders are coordinating the resistance." "Understood," I said, examining the data on the screen. "We need to intensify our attacks. We must focus on the enemy commander's base." "Tharnake, what's the situation?" Tharnake stood beside me, his eyes fixed on the large screens. "The Xerians are resisting," he said with seriousness. "But we can win this battle. We need to continue with our plan. We must overcome the defenses around the command ship." As an explosion shook the bridge, Jax continued to mark targets on the screen. "Commander, the defense shields around the enemy command ship are weakening. It's an opportune moment for an attack." "All right," I said, increasing the determination in my voice. "Order all units to concentrate on this area. We'll target the Xerian commanders and destroy the command ship. This will change the course of the battle." Jax quickly began sending orders, and the crew sprang into action. The screens on the bridge showed the execution of the attack plans. The light bursts outside the ship highlighted the impact of our assaults on the enemy vessels. Suddenly, one of the enemy ships exploded in a massive blast. The sound shook every corner of the bridge as Jax's data on the screen changed rapidly. "Rockets approaching the command ship," he said, panicked. "We need to strengthen the defense systems." Tharnak, directing his team swiftly, coordinated the defense systems. "We must mount an effective defense against the enemy rockets," he said. "I'll deploy additional forces to destroy the remaining enemy ships." As a series of bullets and beams pierced our ship's armor, every individual on the bridge remained focused on their tasks. Under rapidly changing conditions, Tharnak and I continued to target the enemy command ship. "The command ship's defense systems are weakening," Jax said, examining the data on the screen. "We can attack now. Let's direct our lasers and rockets toward the target." "Understood," I said, with a battle-hardened determination on my face. "We're making our final move. It's time to break the Xerian resistance." In the midst of the battle, a critical moment arrived. The Xerian command ship was coordinating all enemy forces. The chaos in space was intensifying by the moment. Explosions, beams of light, and the roar of rockets echoed in the ears of the entire crew. On the bridge, at the console serving as the center of the battle, Jax quickly adjusted the targeting systems. "Let's target that ship," I said resolutely. "If we don't destroy the command ship, we won't be able to neutralize the other enemy ships." "Understood," Jax said, examining the intense defense systems around the command ship on the screen. "I'm preparing for the initial attack." Everyone on the bridge was focused on the precision of the targeting systems. "We're ready for the attack," Tharnak said as he passed by me. "Breaking through the enemy command ship's defense systems will be challenging, but it's our only chance." Outside, intense combat was raging around the command ship. Explosions and lights looked like colorful streaks glowing in space. Each rocket explosion illuminated the void outside the ship, testing the defense systems of the enemy vessels. "I'm starting the first attack on the command ship," Jax said, quickly checking the screen. "Beams and rockets are on their way." The screens reflected real-time images of the beams and rockets being launched at the command ship. Outside, the beams and rockets shook the enemy vessel, trying to penetrate its armor. Each explosion continued with increasing intensity to strain the enemy ship's defense systems. "The rockets are proving effective," Jax said with satisfaction. "The defense systems are weakening. The command ship's armor is on the verge of breaking." Tharnak, coordinating additional attacks on the command ship's defenses, said, "Continue targeting the weak points of the enemy ship. It's impossible to deal with the other ships without destroying the command ship." On the bridge, As every corner of our ship shook, the crew swiftly followed the orders. A series of explosion sounds caused a hum throughout the interior of the ship. The lights around the command ship displayed how fiercely the battle was being fought. Suddenly, a large explosion was heard. "We've completely breached the command ship's defense systems," Jack said after examining the screens. "We can now focus on the main target." "We're ready for the final move," I said with a victorious determination. "Let's destroy the command ship and change the course of the battle." To finish it quickly, we directed all our firepower at the command ship. Each beam and rocket continued to shake the enemy vessel and penetrate its armor. At this critical moment of the battle, every individual on the bridge felt the excitement of a successful attack. "The command ship's armor has collapsed," Jack said with a tone full of triumph. "The final blow is underway. The command ship is about to be destroyed." Outside, a massive explosion occurred. The command ship was obliterated in a giant burst of light, and the enemy ships began to retreat in disarray, losing their coordination. A cheer of victory rose on the bridge. "We did it," Larnake said, with a gleam of victory in his eyes. "We destroyed the command ship. Most of the enemy forces have retreated. Victory is ours." The crew celebrated the satisfaction and relief that came with victory. As the battle ended, a sense of relaxation and triumph filled the bridge. The screens showed that we were the victors of the battle. Larnake and the other team members embraced each other tightly and celebrated their victory. "This is a great victory," Larnake said with a smile. "In the name of my father and all humanity, we won this war." "Indeed," I said, feeling tired but fulfilled. This battle was a significant step for humanity's future. Together, we eliminated our enemies and secured humanity's future. The joy of victory enveloped the entire crew. Although the hardships and losses of the battle still cast a shadow within us, the great victory we achieved together brought us new hope. We had avenged my father and secured the future of humanity.